Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world of darkness, and welcome to Right Across New York, the werewolf venue. Today's scene is going to be an interesting scene for the Hunters of Alas, considering that Kotori is not Din Father anymore, but he still gives Olaf some advice and is still in charge of the more wild side of the education of the cubs and the feared education for the young feared that is among them. He feels that since they went to a mission given to them by Mother Larissa, and which was killing and destroying that place and everything that was in it, he would like to hear Olaf's opinion on what transpired, and he feels also that, well, Ren should be also there, considering that she is the other Philodox of the pack, and it could be an interesting discussion to have between the three of them. And this is where we will start, as they are basically near the Shrine of Uktena in the Tellurian realm of the Sept of the Green.
Olaf approaches, and just as Katori was able to get away with just kind of showing his throat, given the one rank distance between himself and Athro, Olaf is fostering now. And while he doesn't make a gigantic show of it, it's enough that Katori can recognize what he's trying to do between himself and an Adrin. Rhea.
Kotori nods to Olaf. Brother.
Ren doesn't stand in quite so much ceremony. She's not far behind Olaf, but a little bit behind him, and she just kind of touches his shoulder as she wanders up, so he's not startled by the fact that, hey, there's somebody behind me. And she just gives Katori a grin and kind of wanders over to sit down next to him. Good evening, Afa.
Good evening, Ren. And he just pat the ground next to him for Olaf to come and sit.
Olaf comes and sits down. In retrospect, depending on how big Katori is, it's almost comical, given that Ren is a certain size in Hamid, Katori is a certain size in Hamid, and then you have like this meat wall just kind of sitting with them.
How tall is
okay.
Katori?
Let me think. Kotori is probably standard height, probably 172.
Okay. Yeah, whereas Olaf's like 6'4" and 240 some odd pounds. So
it's okay. You are our favorite meat lord.
Either way, he sits actually quite upright, looks very attentive towards both his alpha and his pack sister.
So, I've heard that you went with the Cubs and some of the Cleaves and Foster to deal with the fish farm?
Olaf nods. It has been dealt with. There were no survivors at that facility. We made sure of it. And Mabes Talon did good work. There were only 2 fire trucks we saw as we exited. They did not look equipped to deal, at least not immediately, with a blaze of that size.
Kotori thinks about it a little bit. So, she made talons. What kind of talons, exactly?
From what I could see, it was a fire talon of some sort. I didn't know the nature, at least fully, of whatever deal she made with that spirit. nor am I familiar with
Mm.
how exactly she talked it into inhabiting that matchstick. But people transferred Gnosis in, she set it off, and we had an instant fireball. Much higher, much stronger than anything we could have done with, how I put this, human means.
Mm. Good. At least she is starting to learn how to deal with such things. And we'll have to see exactly what she tends to do next and perhaps give her some project to work with. So, and he takes a very serious look. Which cups did you brought for this mission?
Talia, Lucas, Albert, and Mabe in my memory.
Mm.
Out of character, I think those are the people that came.
Yeah, I think it's the ones that came.
Okay.
He thinks a bit. You brought Albert, that's interesting. I would have thought that perhaps Gino would have gone there. He would have needed the discipline to follow orders. But how did he fare? What did he do exactly?
Albert, from what I hear, he did quite the job being a Ragabash. He has come to possess that gift Ragabash have, where they open locks without needing keys. Was very good, apparently, about unlocking many things to get information about the place before we set it on fire. Things we can use to. Well, I'm no glasswalker, but I understand the importance of stealing knowledge back from the enemy. He was apparently quite indisposable when it came to that task. Very brave, too. Was the one who breached the lock on the door to the room we needed in the most. Paid for it with most of his face. He's still with us, still alive.
Mm-hmm. So, I see. And what about your other Ragabash?
Lucas. Well, until we were leaving, I didn't quite see Lucas with the things he did. I imagine the escape hole we had in the fence to stay away from the authorities on our way out was his doing. He, like me, grew up knowing kin, very used to doing things a certain way. Like I said, I imagine that was his doing, very good plan. Lucas, very good at sneaking. Very, very good. And has no compunctions about fighting worm creatures. Both when we went to Glacier and this particular trip, no compunctions about fighting worm creatures. Fishery in particular, he was right on top of one of those Fomori almost immediately after I got shot.
See? Very loyal.
Mm-hmm. I see. One that can, well, stand above one of his fallen comrades to protect him and do the job is something that is valuable. I didn't doubt that he would protect a brother or fight one creature. My doubts would have been more towards normal humans.
I didn't see whether or not he took part in the cleanup. There was much chaos. A lot of people to kill in a big hurry.
Mm,
We were in separate teams. Couldn't keep an eye on everything, unfortunately.
mm. I think I will give you some talents in order to keep up with the cubs. That way, if you have doubts over their actions, you will just need to ask the spirit, and the spirit will answer to you.
He nods. The only one I really worry about
Mm-hmm.
in terms of whether or not they can handle some of the aspects of our work is Mabe, honestly. She's willing to fight the worm. She's more than proven this. Very willing to help her brothers and sisters. She has more than proven this. During the final encounter, the last for Mori, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't see, but I could sense her running about doing what she could. After all, you take a small room, pack 6 Krynos into it. It's kind of hard to get a claw in edgewise.
Mm.
The only real hiccup she had, apparently, at some point when she was trying to get into the shop floor, she opens a door. Somebody starts shooting at her. I almost blame myself for not teaching them how to properly breach doors to urban combat. She did what most people would do when someone tries to blow their head off. She got back behind cover and waited for them to stop shooting, waited for a pause. She doesn't quite understand the limitations of her body just yet. He waves his hand. Cubs.
Ren is kind of watching him sideways because she's not entirely sure she knows what she would do in that situation. She's intrigued by the thought, but she'll ask him later.
I listened. I corrected her etiquette. So she knows you open that door, you go in and you take them right then.
Mm-hmm.
Lesson learned. Lesson learned. She's new. I get it.
Mm.
But she has expressed compunctions about the extermination side on some missions. Hamid's sensibilities. This is part of why in some of our talks I've been so emphatic that a lupus garo, teach them the wolf's heart. I try to understand my wolf's heart as best I can. I was still born on 2 legs. I can't do it the way you can.
The Lupus are not murderers either, though.
No, but they understand when the time is to do things.
Wolves don't kill for sport.
No, they kill out of necessity.
Mm. The thing that perhaps Olaf tries to tell Ren is that a lupus will see hominids as what they are. Just as any other animal, there is no problem of compassion or misplaced sensibility when the time has come. But I understand one's reservation at having to kill, but the problem is that Mabe, as of right now, is a potential liability for her brothers and sisters. If this is just a human, well, a human can still do a lot of damage. It can escape, spread news, attract the attention of unwanted enemies. Or worse, if that human is a Fomori and that her hesitance is what leads to her downfall by the hand of his Fomori. This is not something that can be acceptable.
In that, Raya, we are agreed.
What do you say to that, as a Philodox of the Children of Gaia, Ren?
I say that we should no more waste lives than we have to complete our mission.
And when that mission is an extermination?
Ren cocks her head sideways.
Hmm.
Do you
We were
think
told
the
no
nation...
survivors. I'm so sorry, Emma.
It's okay. Do you think the nation bears a grudge against each of those assholes? Or their families? The nation surely does not. I'm not saying you did a bad job. I'm certainly not saying you did a bad job. But it's reasonable to hesitate before killing any helpless human.
Hmm. Perhaps. What? Hmm. But we come back to the problem. Having compassion is something that should be treasured. But compassion should not stand in your way. Sometimes the Garo Nation needs to do things that human minds find reprehensive, that human minds cannot comprehend. But it has to be done. It is not something that you should take joy in. Killing someone is just the act of doing so. The one who should take pleasure in inflicting pain to others because he can, that one is taking the shortcut to the spiral.
Ren nods emphatically.
So, we can all agree that even if Maeve's compassion should be something that she keeps, it is imperative that when a mission demands so, she go and do the job. Not out of anger, not out of hatred, but because it is something that has been ordered. She can cry the lives of those that she takes. She can do prayer for the prey, or even build a shrine to the memories so she doesn't forget the lives that she took. But in the end, the act must be done.
Have we proof that the act was not done?
Thank you, Olaf.
No proof in either direction other than her expressed reservations. She has very openly stated, and I believe her, that she has no problem with slaying things of the worm. For Morty, wormish spirits. Ren, you were there with us in Glacier. She did not shy away from that battle. In fact, she joined me doing something quite dangerous. My fear is as Katori's fear, that she'll be fooled by a combination of the worm's ways and her own compassion into hesitating.
I worry that you can't punish someone out of hesitation. You could only punish them into hesitation.
This is not really a problem of punishment. For what I understand of Olaf's telling, she participated and she helped. So the problem is not really that she didn't do anything. If she hadn't done anything, then it would have been another problem worth of a true punishment.
Her efforts were what helped. In fact, they were key to protecting the Veil. If she had not brought and safeguarded that Talon, we would have had a lot of evidence left behind.
And the ironic thing is, whether she thought about it or not, any of those people that were not already dead certainly burned to death with the effects of her Talon.
Indeed.
Mm.
It was good cleanup. It was well thought out. And as far as I'm concerned, Doraya, of course, correct me if I'm wrong, that's a big part of what her auspice does. Making sure that the right deals are made with the right spirits to help us in this war.
True. In that aspect, she did what was expected of her. The problem is that you can stay behind and burn everything to the ground, killing those people. It is not the same thing to face them and look at them in the eye as you take their lives. It is easier to be on the sidelines. I think she, more than any other cubs, perhaps Albert. Albert seems to me to be very Hamid, perhaps a little bit too much.
Very
Talia,
Hamid. I'm
Talia
sorry,
is
Raya.
different. He nods. Talia is another matter that we will discuss also. As it stands, unless, of course, you point to me something different. But how did Talia the Arun fared in this matter?
Did her job. Did her job good. If it weren't for her, I'd be dead.
Mm. So, as a warrior, tribe, as a son of Fenris, you are satisfied with her performance?
Warriors can always improve their craft. I always try to improve my craft. But, good start.
Very well. So, out of this mission, we can say that for Baragabash did a good job. The Theurges did a good job. And the Arun did a good job. It's the individual that we need to look into.
Indeed.
And honestly, it sounds, from having spoken to Lucas and having watched Mabe, if I haven't really spoken to her yet, it sounds as though it was a very good introduction, Olaf. I think you've done a good job, the both of you, as Den Father. None of them came out of it shaking and traumatized and hoping to flee the Sept.
True. Even if those two, Lucas and Mabe, they have problem with following orders. Even if they did their job here. Mabe, Lucas followed order apparently from what you decided. Mabe had problem going with it. So, if you had told me that she had really gone bad in this mission, I would have asked her to go to the Sikian, to the city, to pay a homage to Wendigo himself, kill a man, take his heart and bring it back to me. But from what you tell me, the problem is different. So I'm going to send her to the proper teacher. I'm going to send her to Smiles in Pangaea.
I have yet to meet him.
We will. We still need to go to that place anyway. But as it stands, I think that since she asked me very adamantly that she knows how to forget her Homid mind, going alone, perhaps with Albert, to this place to learn directly from a lupus without any interference, because this is something that I've come to realize. She cared about Lucas, and Lucas cared about her. But I feel that perhaps keeping them aside to do their own thing might do them good. They keep each other safe, and that is good. But they are other cubs, they are other potential packmates. If they only work of two, then whichever pack they go in will never work out.
A good point.
Speaking of becoming one with wolf mind, Cinna shows certain amount of promise. She is kind of ragabash, does a lot of her work with words. I fear that while this kind of specialty is necessary, it will still, in the end, only help to distance her from the wolf mind and the wolf heart.
He thinks a little bit. So Mabe should go to Pangaea to learn how to follow orders from a lupus and connect to her lupus mind. Albert needs to forget his own humanity for a bit to become a wolf. And so does Cinna.
He nods.
Katori, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go right ahead. For real.
Before you send them to Pangaea, I don't know how close they are to their own wolf minds, but none of them speak the language. They've learned a few broad gestures, how to submit, but in wolf form, Maeve greets those who come to her with a waving paw.
Strange. Whenever she comes to me, she show her throat, not waving her paw. I will look into it.
What I mean is, she understands how to submit. They understand how to roll over, but none of them would know how to tell another wolf to stop rolling over or to greet an equal.
I don't know, Ren. I tend to be from the school of do it wrong, get bite, and learn how to do it right. But, yes, for the new one, I will not teach anything to Mabe. She should know better. She is my apprentice, and she has been hanging around with me long enough. Those things she should know, as I have told her to stay in Lupus long enough and to hunt down for her food.
Maybe it would be good for them to observe a real wolf pack, even one of the tame packs in the zoo.
Hmm.
Before you turn them over to Smiles.
He turns to Olaf. What is your opinion on this?
Certainly not how I was raised, but guess I can't expect them all to be Fenrir.
Ren gives Olaf a grin. Did you hunt with a pack or by yourself
Or
in your
me?
wolf form?
My wolf form. Well, started by myself. They wanted to see if I was strong enough to, not die. By myself for a long time. They wanted me to hone my instincts. But when the time came, wolf pack.
Good.
It was, how you say, start with basics, move up to advanced.
Hmm. Um.
I'm less concerned about their safety and more about their ability to communicate with our brothers and sisters who run on 4 legs.
Hmm.
She shrugs.
Hmm. Then perhaps a compromise then. They will have to be for the rest of the week in lupus form, and they will only be able to communicate through signs of the wolf language.
The high ban will keep them in the Umbra. They'll need a watch guard.
Hmm.
Is it safe to sleep in the Umbra?
I wouldn't do it.
Maybe a field trip is
Hmm.
in order.
And he kind of turns and smiles. A field trip to Pangaea then.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
I don't
Proper.
either.
Hmm.
I just feel for poor Smiles if he's suddenly inundated with cubs who can't even...
Oh, believe me. I think that they are going to learn very fast with Smiles. Smiles does not. Kotori thinks a little bit. You don't have to worry from his natural hate for humans. When one goes to Pangaea, one forgets his tribe, one forgets the suffering that you endure in those places. It is a place of harmony and balance.
Mm.
Something to bring you closer to Gaia. He will still remember that he doesn't appreciate Homid's, but he will not remember the reason. Should we? And he thinks a little bit. So I will change my question. Should all the cubs go, or should only a select few go, and then the other will go in their due time?
You're right about one thing, or rather, I agree with you in one thing. Maybe more, yes, but Lucas and Mabe influence each other a certain way. There's some lessons both of them gotta learn on their own, separate from each other. I still have my suspicions and reservations about how Lucas's first change came to be. Didn't think looking into it would do any good. I'm starting to get a clearer picture every day.
I'm gonna perception empathy Olaf.
Okay.
So we'll
So-
do Katori.
This is 3 successes for noticing what Olaf's doing with his face, and here is a roll for keeping her own face from doing anything.
Oh my god, are we just like having a perception empathy battle?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I'm just
Okay.
gonna puny off.
Alright, I'll go and try to beat 1 success for Ren.
No, Ren had 3 successes to see you. 1
yeah,
success to
but-
hide her own expression.
You hide nothing from me, though. Okay, so for my part,
Mhm.
you were looking for body language, right, MA?
hmm
Suspicious Olaf is suspicious, not necessarily angry, but you can tell that he is at least visually expressing this kind of, I'm going to call it a frustrated suspicion. Tori, how many successes did you get on your peony?
I used my Breath of Gaia, so I had 4 success.
Sweet. You get a little more.
Mm-hmm.
The suspicion hits its peak around the time that he is talking about the circumstances of the first change. Like, he suspects something hinky went on. He just doesn't know what.
Mm.
So, I beat your subterfuge. What's up, Ren?
When he mentions Lucas's first change, she stands up and kind of just dusts herself off and looks like she has places to be.
I'll keep that one in my pocket.
Katori
Okay.
turns to Ren. Is there somewhere you want to go?
It just occurred to me that I know how to do the thing I need to do for Kachina Raya.
Katori squints his eyes as he looks at you.
What success?
What's up? What's up? I got 3 successes. What's going on?
She doesn't want to be there. She wants to be anywhere else. She would like to, in fact, be on the moon if that were an option.
Mm.
I do think it's a good idea to send them in separate groups, Raya. And you've given me a good idea for a task I need to fulfill for Kachina.
Mm. Katori's going to stay silent because he hasn't beaten your poker face. Mm.
Olaf's just judiciously choosing not to push this.
Very well. Go do what Kachina asked. We'll see that matter another time.
She reaches over to give his shoulder a gentle squeeze, and then smiles at Olaf, and then books it out of there.
Strange.
Mm. This will need to be talked.
It will. Just a matter of when.
A matter of Ren. Alright. So.
There is
Yes.
one last concern.
Mm-hmm.
Chino,
Mm-hmm.
strong, can be scary when he wants to be. But very taken with his rage.
Mm.
Can have a hard time following orders, though it's not impossible.
Mm. Yeah, I had an interesting discovery with how he works. Unfortunately, that's not something that is going to help you.
When I was in Glacier with him, we had a mind link. He stuck to Kachina Raya like glue, and all I could get off of his surface thoughts was the word protect. I don't know who drummed it into him. I would have. It's very good to protect the urges, yes. But the feeling I got off of it was that someone a long time ago had beaten it in deep.
Mm. Rowan is not very subtle.
Apparently
Does
not.
he does amazing things, and he risks a lot. But well, what he does with his kinfolk is his concern.
Which brings me to another question.
Mm.
Amara,
Mm.
she is a member of your tribe, also of great concern to the heads of the Krykos mega clan, and someone, due to my promise to Kali before she passed, that I am interested in protecting. All of us focused on the one of her, and old history might have us all at each other's throats. Tribal matters.
Mm. Kelly did. I'm not going to judge her, considering she is a sister of a tribe. But Rowan was not happy about it. At least from what I would get. Either he was not happy that she took one of his kinfolk as her mate, or that she insulted him somehow and he went lightly with her by changing her into a man.
I know.
Knowing. Mm.
I'm sorry, dude. That was just my bad timing. You would not have interrupted Katori.
Mm-hmm. The fact remains, she is Uktena. She is of Rowan's brood. She is of our blood. You are a brother of a tribe. Every Uktena will recognize that. I will, however, need to talk to her. But I have no problem you fulfilling your promise to Kali.
Olaf nods.
How
When
is she doing?
I haven't been able to find her. That's the ultimate question. How do you find an Uktena that doesn't want to be found?
You asked another Uktena. I will make sure that we find her. I have ways. We have ways. Where was the last time that you saw her?
The last time I saw her personally was a little bit before she made her exit from my care after the incident with Wastingaraya.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I heard of her in the sept,
Mm-hmm.
the rumors, they circle. She apparently was in the sept when the news of Kali's death came about, did not take it well. I have yet to see hide nor hair of her since.
The death of a mate is something that shattered anyone to its core. And sometimes you need to be alone, away from the pack. But we can't have her being kept away unprotected.
Indeed.
Kotori nods. We are going to find her. If she doesn't want to come back to the Sept, there's no problem. She can go with Chino and Rowan's kinfolk, with her family. She will probably feel safer among those than in places where that will make her remember Callie.
We may want to, depending, determine who gave who what offense. It is true, Rowan could be quite mad at Callie for taking one of his kinfolk.
Mm-hmm.
Could have equally been true that he is mad also at Amara for going alone, not consulting him. Any number of combinations to this order. I know that when I went to become mate with Liz of the Fianna, both of us had a lot of proving to do to either each other's tribes before that union would be blessed.
Mm. So, what exactly do you want to judge in this matter?
Me personally, I just need her to end up somewhere where she's safe. Preferably somewhere I can support her from.
Mm. I see. We will make sure that she is found. I have ways as a feud that are not accessible to you. We will go together and find her. Perhaps, and he looks into a distance. Perhaps we could even get either. Actually, I think that perhaps Dr. Mega could be an interesting option. Someone who can know the power of such loss.
He is also quite interested in finding her, was very adamant to me that I find her. Once she's found, I would not be opposed to Dr. Mega speaking with her.
Yes. Yes. He would want it anyway. It is a way, and I think that, and Kotori gets the little Pegasus sculpture that he has. She actually might be the one that needs this the most.
Indeed.
Very well. I will send you. I will send you the name of those that would go first, and those that would go seconds, for this little field trip. Or another solution might even be to get Laughing Shadow to take the other group and deal with them.
He strokes his beard, goatee, what have you. That is a good option.
Very well. Kotori gets up, starting to stretch. All right. One matter dealt with. So many more to deal with.
Olaf gets up. True.
Hmm.
We'll manage.
That's what we always do. Oh, did Garrett deliver my message to the Guardians?
Which one? Bob the
About
player
the
has horrible memory.
About a shrine hidden within the subway of the city.
I'll have to look back through the log. I'm sure he did, but the Guardian network, buzzing constantly. Very
As
easy for a
would be
single
expected.
message to... Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry, dude. I've been like...
Nah, this one, it's Kotori interrupting you.
Okay. He gets interrupted. He stops talking when Kotori talks.
And then, yes, he has stopped talking. You can come back to your talking.
Olaf just kind of nods. I'll look for it.
Yes, I intend to go and deal with this matter with the pack. If the Guardian wish to accompany us to this place and deal with it, I have no problem with that.
You realize this may involve Mikhail, the Shadow Lord?
We already went to the asteroid. I don't really care about Mikhail the Shadow Lord. As long as he doesn't rub me the wrong way, I can stand having him far from my reach. The one, yeah, he makes a pause. Actually, that makes me think about what Garrett said to me. I would have said that Xavier should be the one you should be more concerned. However, he did point out that I'm the one who attacked the Shadow Lord on sight, and not Xavier. This is about efficiency. This is about the Sept, not about my personal preference. If I had to choose which Shadow Lord would accompany us, I would highly prefer Garrett. But I will not shy away from one that could be helpful in any situation to deal with the enemies of the Sept. My personal opinion on his tribe doesn't matter.
All right.
Good. Well, we all have things to do. I will call you all at some point for a meeting. I have something to share with the pack. Knowledge that I got from our trip to the underworld and the Sea of Madness. I will unlock Aaron's talent so we can share the knowledge and have a proper offering to Uktena.
He nods. I'll be on my way then, Raya.
He nods. And with that, I guess we can call it a scene. Thank you, players, for playing, watchers for watching, and we will catch you next time.